Hey y'all, happy Easter week. I'm cooking a couple of things today, and this one I'm going to do for y'all, and I'm going to put it up tonight. We're going to see if it works, and if it does, boy, is that going to be a game changer for Easter. It's rolls, and it's yeast rolls, but you don't got to wait on them to rise. There's no rise at all. So right now, I have got a cup of water. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of the quick rise yeast and 2 tablespoons of sugar in this water. And then we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes to get a froth. Froth. I am going to use this particular kind. There's 1, 2. Two of the sugars. You're just going to mix that up and then let it sit 3 to 5 minutes or so. Just so you know that yeast is working, and you'll know that by when the top of it gets frothy. And see, that's already happening when you use that little whisk, and when it'll stay that way. In the meantime, you're going to want 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. I have that right here already. You're going to want 3 to 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You're also going to want an egg, 1 egg, and you'll want that at room temperature. And a little bit of salt, so 1.5 teaspoons, and then, like I said, 3 to 3.5 cups of the flour. You don't have to sip the flour. They didn't. I'm going to, since I'm going to be sitting here waiting on this a minute or two. I'm just going to go ahead and put mine. You need 3 cups. At least minimum, maybe 3.5. It probably depends on the day, the weather. That sounds crazy, but it's true. Where you live. So the original recipe had 3.5 cups. I'll leave it out in case we need more. But I'm going to go ahead and just sip the 3. This is all-purpose flour. If you're hunting a flour that you want a light, airy biscuit, roll, pastries, make sure you look one that, it'll say on the bag 100% or made with soft winter wheat. Because there's some of them that are made with hard wheat, which is fine for certain things. But for a biscuit or pastries, you want that winter wheat, soft white winter wheat. And most of the bags will tell you what they're made up of. So there is our flour. Hasn't been anywhere near 5 minutes, maybe 2, but you can see that's fine. It's already good. We're fixing to go on with it. So we're going to pour this mixture over into our bowl. And then we're going to start mixing that up. A lot of times I'll use my wire whisk and not change it over until the dough hook, until last minute. We'll do that in a minute. I'm just using the paddle today. Then you're going to want your 1/4 a cup of melted butter. I don't know how melted that is anymore. I melted it earlier. There we go. In a little bit. Then you want a teaspoon, 1.5 or so of salt. Now this is kosher salt, a little bit coarser, but I'm going to put it in there. Want 1 egg. All right, now I'm going to start adding my 3 cups of flour, a little at a time. I'm going to switch over to my paddle here in a sec. Let me go grab that. Now I got that swapped over and I'm just adding this flour. It's just hard for me to believe. I've never had a yeast roll that you don't have to wait, at least on one rise, you know. According to the instructions, you do have no wait time, so we shall see. Let's go ahead and add all 3 cups. Knock this off the side. Keep it all in there. See what happens. Turn that mixer up a little bit now. I got that in there. Now, here we are with our 3 cups. I just went in, and to me, that's a wee bit too dry. I don't have, yeah, well, no. Let me get this butter. I'm going to add that little bit of extra butter, so that helps it a little bit. Or you could just take a little bit of olive oil if it's too dry. That's why I said start with the 3 cups. Depending on where you are. Hold on a minute. That's not even needing that. Let's get a big dub in there. This is breaking my... but if it's too much, just add a little bit of oil. If you get it too dry, add a tad of oil or a little water. And then if you get it too wet, well, you just add a tad of that flour until you get it to where you want the mixing bowl to look nice and clean. That's pretty much all that's going to do, I think. I'm probably going to have to just get it out of my hand and eat it. Don't want to stay. Let's see. Should be able to let your mixer do the work. The way this dough comes up, you might have to do the work yourself. You don't want to stay under the thing to knead it with. I might have to just hand knead it, which is all right. We can do that too. Let me pause it in my mixer. Yeah, I'm just slowing it down. I'm going to try to let it do the work. I just slowed it down to the lowest speed so that dough will stay underneath it. But you can see how clean. Let me see if I can get this camera right down in there. See how pretty and clean the bowl is? That's when you know it's perfect. You don't need to touch it with nothing else. It don't need no more oil. It don't need no more flour. It's good to go. So we'll see what we can get out of that. Then I'll move the mixer. And then, now, they cut it in 8, like different 8 balls, and then rolled it up. So you'd have 8 big rolls. But she was also using it for buns almost, like to hold barbecue, like a sandwich. So once I get it out, I see the size of it, and I get it in my hand, my actual hands, then I'll decide whether I'm doing 8 or 16. Because if you want to use it for a roll recipe, and you were serving a lot of people, you either have to double it or make it go further. So we may try cutting it in 16, see what happens. Here we go, y'all. I gotta say, this is my favorite thing. No joke, bread. Hands down, it is so therapeutic. It's just my favorite thing. Anyway, you're supposed to divide them into 8. You get 8 good size buns, rolls, whatever you'd like to call them. Let's see what that looks like if I do that. That'd be like dividing this into... Y'all know what? Let me pause this because it didn't tell you to do that, but I'm going to do that just from bread making. I'm going to take it and I'm going to slam it real hard, and that works your air bubbles out. Gotta say, I don't know if that helped a bit. For this particular, since this is not a normal bread recipe, you're not waiting on a normal rise like, you know, you would normally do it. So, you're just going to go straight in. And if you divide it into 8... I'll stick with what it is, and then I'll know next time if I could have went smaller. I'll be the guinea pig for y'all. So this is going to make a bun size like for a sandwich. So I think I'm going to make them smaller. That way we can see how they, you know, what size you get. And that way if you're wanting to serve more people, you can. Instead of doubling it for that. So I think these will still make a decent sized bun. Let's see. Get that roll out the top of that one. That one's got a... I mean, talk about a game changer. You can do your dinner, not have to worry about your rolls rising. And these cook in 11 minutes. And that's the big size, so I'll have to keep my eye on them. I don't know if I can get full across. We'll try. Hopefully. Get one up here on the edge. Oh, that would be... These will be amazing if they come out amazing. Then I'll melt some butter for the top also. You know, when they come out of the oven. Divide that in half. Now remember, if you want them for a barbecue sandwich, you just do half the cuts I'm doing. I'm going to divide them up so it makes a good many rolls and see how many we can get from one recipe. Dutch having to double it. Of course, I guess if you made them rolls the size of a hamburger bun, they wouldn't need but one, would they? Instead of having to get two. Get 2 in one. We'll do it this way to see. And mine's going to run into each other. Trying to get them all on this pan, and some are bigger. I'd have to work on that one if I went to a food competition. The uniform size. I could never do that. I don't have the demeanor to get through that. It'd be like the Gordon Ramsay yelling at folks. I'd yell back, and I'd be in trouble. Know your limitations and boundaries. I'm right here in my own kitchen. Let's see. Let's turn that upside down. I'm trying to make them pretty as I can. The smooth tops are starting to puff up already. And here we go. Look, I had room. Let's spread them out a little bit. So they got some room to grow. Each of them. In they go. 10 to 11 minutes. So basically the original recipe would make 8. And they would be the size you could put barbecue on. I made 16, so we can use them as dinner rolls if they're good. They're supposed to not be dense. They're supposed to be light and airy and fluffy, which is why I didn't use the bread flour. I used the all-purpose just because I think the bread flour is not as it's supposed to be. It's not, to me. Anyway, I just use what everybody would have at home, all purpose, which is what they used, and they looked completely delicious and airy, like they had had a rise. So we'll see, y'all. This really will be a game changer if you don't have to wait for a rise. Got the stuff to do a pineapple cheese ball, and we're probably going to do lasagna tonight. So I'll record that if we do lasagna and put it up later. I'm excited about these dinner rolls. I really am. I can't imagine a dinner roll you don't got to wait for a rise on. And I love bread, and I love a yeast roll. Y'all, ow, ooh, that's hot. Look, y'all, look, beautiful. Except for they got some cracks in them. Now, I think if you did them in H, you might not have that much of that going on. Probably because I did the 16 of them. Let me find a little brush. All right, then I'm going to hit them some butter after they come out. Oh, they're nice and hot. Need some taste testers down here besides myself, don't we? Oh, hear that sizzle? I don't know if y'all can hear the sizzle. Yeah, I think if I'd have paid a little more attention when I was rolling them up, you wouldn't have these big cracks in them. But I don't care. If it tastes like a dinner roll and I didn't have to wait on it to rise for 30 minutes, I absolutely know there's not a single person in your household that's going to care if there's crack in the bread. They're super hot. I don't know if I can pick one up yet and get about it. I think I might have to let them cool them in it, y'all. All right, let's see. It's still hot. If we can get a bite without it burning me. Look out. I'm going to pull it apart. What? And see. They're really good. Especially if we were doing them like they were. They were doing it for like, using it for like hamburger rolls. So they were doing them bigger. I think you might have even a better roll. I don't know if that would affect it or not. They're pretty light and airy. Not the same. I'm just going to be real with y'all. As if you let that thing rise. But if you want a last minute roll, or you don't have no hamburger buns in the house and you want to not have to wait on a rise and you're trying to make yourself a quick little bun, these are amazing. Just fine. But if you got the time, do the rise. You don't really, it's not the same. It's good, but not the same. It's great for last minute. So in other words, if you think you can't do it, you can still throw it together. But I'd give the rise 30 minutes. You can taste these. You can. There's a reason they rise. But they're amazingly pretty light and airy. Here's another. I'll show you. That's what I said. Somebody made it. Most people probably didn't care. Unless you're super picky. So there's you a great little roll recipe. If you're short on time. Or a bun recipe. My camera makes that look burn, but it's not. Yep. Good. All right, I'm going to go so I can watch this